Hello, we're John and Elizabeth.
Hello.
We're on board Corrick, or rather we're not. Corrick is just over the wall in front of us in Treboden. We've got to the halfway point in our North Brittany adventure, and we thought we'd do a little bit of a conversation about what's gone well and what hasn't gone as brilliantly as it could have done, and our thoughts on that. We hope you enjoy this video.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for watching.
Thank you.
We're 3 weeks into our trip, and we've travelled from Saint-Malo to Pluay-sur-Rance to Binnick, and then past Ile-de-Bréhat into Les Ardrières, then up one river, down another river to Tréguières, and yesterday we had a spicy little sail here to Treboden, I think it's pronounced, very much with the idea that we were trying to get ahead of some weather, and I think we may have given up on that, so our plans to go as far as Morlaix may have been blown out of the water this time, but this place didn't look great at 7 o'clock last night in the pouring rain after a tiring sail, but we've had an absolutely terrific wander around the beach, a little bit of it which you can see behind us, and around the town. Very different vibe to any of the other places that we've been, and I can see why this would appear to be a favourite of a few people. Very nice. I don't really intend to do a blow-by-blow account of every place that we've visited because, to be frank, our experiences are one of many, and in many cases, I guess the pilot books and so forth will give you a better, more rounded view of all of that sort of stuff. Although we did find a really good resource online, and I'll put a link to it down below, but it's
all very current, and it is from a yachtsman's perspective,
and it's very time stamped for when the observations are there. So for example, we're going to Pueros Gerek, I hope, tomorrow. And this document has pictures of the new lock gates that went in January, much more up to date than anything we can find elsewhere.
Although I'm not looking forward to the facilities.
No, the facilities get decidedly average right up, and it might be worth starting with that, because facilities was something that we graded on our trip to Scotland, didn't we? It was one of the 5 Fs. I would say that the facilities that we've encountered around here have been absolutely fine. A little bit more basic than is the current situation, certainly on the south of England.
But still very good.
It's not bad at all clean and tidy, obviously being serviced. A little bit, some of them a little bit tired, but when you consider you're paying considerably less than you're paying in the Solent for an overnight berth, I'm quite happy to take the hit on the shower quality.
Especially when they look like an old-fashioned loo and you're pulling the chain.
For the shower.
The shower,
Yeah, that was quite funny. I managed to jam mine on, which was nice. But yeah, overall, the harbour masters that we've encountered have been absolutely delightful. The come down, take your lines, or they come out in a boat to meet you and point you into exactly the berth that they want you to take, which is really nice. They're fonts of knowledge, as you would reasonably expect. As described, the loos can be a bit average, but what is really nice is that very often there is a little cafe or bar near the harbour master's office, although in Pluay it was shutting just as we arrived on the Sunday night, and it wasn't going to open until the Wednesday, which is possibly a function of us being a little bit early in the season. So in May we were definitely on the lower rates. We've jumped up a little bit, but it's still quite a bit less expensive than the Solent.
And it does make it a lot easier to Marina hop. So yeah, and it is a lot less expensive.
It's a lot less expensive, and I'm quite happy to sacrifice a 5-star private toilet for that.
Yeah.
So, having got out of San Marlo, we went through the barrage at the Rance, and I'll show a little bit of slow motion video going through there. If you do decide to do that, I would highly recommend it, and I would also highly recommend that you read up on it. I mean, it is just a lock, but it worked to pretty strict timings. I think we were nice and early for the first one going south. On the one going north, we were getting a bit late, and the gates absolutely did shut right behind us. I think we can be very grateful.
Because I think it's during the working day, it is on the hour.
Yeah. Sometimes outside of the working day, it can be on demand, but it is worth either picking up the brochure or having a look at their website about it. There's a lot of information there. We were feeling a bit nervous about our French, and therefore didn't call them up on I'm going to say 13, but we got through both times exactly as we wanted. But I'm aware from some chatter that we heard afterwards that a boat behind us coming out basically got put behind the commercial vessels and therefore spent an hour or two waiting to get through. So that is worth researching.
It's an absolutely fascinating place. I wish we had had time to go round the barrage. So this is the only lock.
Well,
tidal?
It's the tidal barrage that works on the
barrage,
in and the outflow of the tide.
Hydroelectric power station, I think, in the world.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah.
But it does mean that the tides inside the barrage are wildly, they're just wild.
They're wild.
Basically, they control the ebb and flow. So you've got, well, it's worth reading up on it, but there's lots of very nice water to go sailing in. Just your chart predictions are out the window. But there's a lot of water in there, which is really nice. And this is us sailing down the Rance. There's a couple of bridges, but it is wide open, lots of water because they maintain a high inside. That makes the hydroelectric system work most efficiently. We were lucky enough to have a northwesterly breeze, and once we were inside the barrage itself, it was really very mellow, and of course very little in the way of sea state. So we had a very nice headsail only, very broad reach / run down through the Rance itself. Very pretty indeed. Some of the pilot books talk about the fact that you could spend a week there, and I can well believe it. Very pleasant indeed. 38 metres and 23 metres. We borrowed bicycles, went up to Dinard and then south to Chatelier. Very pleasant, and we did that while we were hiding from some reasonably spicy winds. So that was very lovely. But we came out when the weather died down, went to Binnick. Absolutely colossally awesome sail.
I would totally recommend Binnick. It is
Binnick.
Binnick.
Yeah. Really nice. But again, we were one of two boats on the visitors' pontoon, but very lively town. We were there for the market, lots of places to eat.
And the weekend they had a bank holiday weekend, which is normally associated with their Ascension
Day.
Day.
But lovely beach, nice restaurants, nice bars.
May I comment on the chandlery? Not as good as the one in Treguier, but you have a very nice selection of Breton shirts and jumpers. They are gorgeous. Yes. Very reasonably priced as well.
Yeah, maybe. And so the facilities in all of these places, Les Ardrieux, much more modern marina building, but a bit quieter. Les Ardrieux was maybe looking slightly sad. A couple of hotels shut, but we had a lovely dinner there, nice bar, lovely church.
And the cave, the Tabag. which is the...
Oh yeah, that was really
yeah.
nice. It was a combination of tobacco and cave, where we were able to try some wines before then buying large quantities of it, which was good. Treguier, really, I mean, we were very lucky. The westerly breeze meant that we could sail all the way out of Les Ardrieux, do a couple of tacks up at the top, and then sail all the way back down again. A little bit against the tide, but the wind was just fine, and we were on neaps at the moment, so it was all very lovely. And I really liked Treguier. Very, very historic looking town, lots of nice
cobbled streets,
shops, fabulous
architecture.
cathedral.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
And then yesterday was, as I say, a slightly spicy little sail. We had a combination of all things. Nice, good breeze and a lovely line while we had the tide under us, straight down in between the mainland and the Set Isles. Thought I'd introduce a little bit of a clip of us sailing here. This is two reefs in the main, the number 2 Genoa sheeted really far back in order to keep the boat nice and upright. Good 20, 22, maybe sometimes 24 knots of breeze. The boat really was going like a train. It was lovely. But then as the tide turned, the wind went a bit light, the visibility dropped. We ended up sailing in, got in about, 3:30, something like that. So it was a reasonably long sail, and this morning when we sort of got up at low water and had a look at just exactly how many rocks and stones there are, it is an interesting looking place. I think much better explored if you're able to take to the ground.
There is some very interesting sailing. One of the things in the pilot book was it is lots of little islands, but you do, unfortunately we can't go there because of what we draw, 1.7 metres, but if you've got a lifting keel, it's ideal.
Yeah. In terms of food, we've done really well. We haven't been
hammering it.
Haven't been hammering it, but lots of very pleasant local places to eat. Although I might have eaten one galette too many.
Yeah, I think we're an expert on galettes now. So you have galettes for everything. And then it's the crepes for the sweet stuff.
Yeah. And certainly here we've just had a very nice lunch. It was very pleasant. So I'd say, 5 out of 5 for food, probably 3 or 4 out of 5 for facilities.
Yeah, but they're good.
Yeah. Very pretty as well. I would say strikingly clean. No litter, no rubbish anywhere. Everywhere looks really well tended. Yeah.
And we found that since we've arrived in St Malo, very, very friendly locals. John tries with his French, and you become quite good. I'm still on the Monsieur.
I get 5 for effort and 1 for attainment.
I'm a little bit like the policeman out of LOLO, but John's fairly good. And if you converse in French, they will come back with conversing in English.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they think your French is really bad. Don't know.
Thanks.
That's all right.
But in terms of friendliness, we just cannot fault the people that we've met.
And it's been really good. It's unfortunate that we've made the decision to not go further west.
Well, we're halfway through the time we set to come away, and we've been a bit slower at where we're going, and there's a lot of places that we hopped over that we want to meet and want to see on our way back.
But it means that we can come back here again and explore different places, which is quite exciting.
I don't know if this is true or not, but everything feels a little bit more idiosyncratic. We haven't seen much in the way of chains, and I think Elizabeth would say that the chandlers that we've encountered, both here in Trebourne, but also in Treguier, but also in Binique.
But they get cheaper as you go down the coast for some reason.
Well, that's just the jumpers.
Yeah, and a reefer jacket.
The reefer jacket.
You don't find so many Brits here at the moment.
No.
But just maybe it's because
No,
it's out
although
season,
we have
isn't it?
we have encountered a few people that we've bumped into places after place, and that's
been
that's
really,
nice enough.
really
But
lovely. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen the occasional Dutchman, the occasional German. Not many of the French out sailing at the moment.
No, but they tend to start sailing in July, August time. Met some very interesting people in Treguier. They had just bought it's a boat that's built there.
Oh, a Boreal.
Boreal.
So huge, big aluminium lifting keel.
Yeah.
All 43, 45, 47, 53 feet sort of length.
Phenomenal boats.
Looks like, but what was funny was he was saying he needs 20 knots of breeze to get going. 20 knots of breeze, we were beginning to think, we need to start taking some sails down.
Yeah, or putting reefs in.
But they were very lovely looking machines. Quite a few of them trapped due to Mr. Trump's tariff threat.
Yeah.
So they can't get their assets back into the States without paying a whole pile of extra money.
So that's why they're here.
So they're sailing around the Channel Islands.
Yeah, and up to Scotland as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just started to rain, which was in the forecast for all day, but has only really just started. We've had sunshine and blue skies for most of today.
And John's promised me an ice cream on the beach.
Ice cream on the beach in the rain. I know how to show a girl a good time. But that's us about halfway through. We're going to turn around, start heading east with the wind behind us, although next week it is meant to go very light and very sunny, so passage may be slow.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for watching. I hope
you.
you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much. Bye.